Great players for 2023. Who's going to have a great year? That's the question today, folks. Planet Rugby has asked the question. I am here to answer it, both in this video and in an article down in the description if you want to check out the Planet Rugby version of this one. I've written a piece up for them about some players who may be going to have a great year in 2023. Now, I tried not to go with players who had a great year in 2022 who were World Player of the Year kind of candidates for 2022. But guys who maybe had a great club season and are maybe going to step it up for international, maybe were injured and we're going to see bounce back, that kind of thing. And you guys can let us know your thoughts as always on who you reckon may do it and who do you reckon doesn't have a chance. So I am going to start with an All Blacks player, and he spent a fair bit of time out injured. And that guy is Ethan Blackadder. Now, in 2021, this dude was a regular All Black, back rower, quite capable of covering multiple positions on the flanks or at number 8, and really defensively such a solid unit. Great at getting turnovers, jumps in the line out, bit of a tackling machine. I wouldn't say he's like the biggest ball carrying unit you've ever seen. Solid without being kind of spectacular in that area. But then shoulder injury last year. And the guy is a little bit injury prone, but shoulder injury last year kind of robbed us of a bit more game time for this guy. Now, going into a World Cup, there's certainly room for guys who can cover multiple positions, and Ethan Blackadder is absolutely that guy. We've seen him do it in that 1 year in 2021, and he should be, having had about 6 months recovery time to get his body right, the guy should be fired up and ready to go for 2023 with a World Cup on the horizon. I don't know that his stocks would have fallen to the point where he can't get back in, especially the number 6 slot in the All Blacks doesn't seem to be absolutely sold on any one particular player. Like 7 seems to be a lock with Sam Cane if he's fit, 8 seems to be Savia, but 6 still seems to be an option, and maybe the number 20 jersey for a guy on the bench as well. So Ethan Blackadder, he should be as fired up as you can get to get back into the All Blacks into 2023. We'll see if he's going to have a great year. He's one guy that's certainly got a bit of potential. Now, speaking of potential for England, this guy, Arundell, goodness gracious me, he only had very, very limited time. I think he had 3 tests for England in 2022. But boy, was he was so impactful that they nominated him for Breakthrough Player of the Year. Maybe a little bit unfairly because he had such a limited amount of test time, but for his club team, London Irish, the guy is absolutely devastating. He just eats run meters, he breaks tackles, he gets tries, he's quick as lightning. He's only 20 years old. So this guy is absolutely one that we should be keeping our eye out for, whether he gets selected for England in 2023. Now, the only question mark about him as well is he is, I believe, currently injured. So whether he kind of makes his recovery in time to get into that Six Nations squad kind of remains to be seen. Whether the new coach Borthwick goes for a wee bit more experience or goes for that out-and-out attacking pressure, because the attack looked a little bit lackluster under Eddie Jones last year. And this guy is absolute attacking brilliance. So could certainly do a job if he gets chosen. But we'll kind of have to wait and see. For Ireland, maybe a little bit of a controversial one. But Ross Byrne. Now Ross Byrne, he's got a tough time. He plays for a great team in Leinster. Plays for a great Irish side. But essentially he plays for the same team as Johnny Sexton for both club and country. And honestly, there's been times when he plays for Leinster and Leinster is just absolutely bossing it, and you think, I could play 10 for them and still do well. Obviously, it's an exaggeration, but when it's an easy opponent, they tend to do pretty well, and then sometimes in the tougher games, hasn't maybe looked the part. But I feel like at the end of last year, this guy took a step up, realises he's falling down in the pecking order. It seems to be Sexton Carberry, and then there's going to be somebody else. I feel like he wants that spot and maybe wants to put the pressure on for the kind of backup guy, Ross Byrne. I just thought he looked cool. He looked confident. Maybe in previous times he's been playing for Ireland with a bit of pressure on him. I feel like maybe that kind of monkey's off the back, and he's just gonna give it a crack. I don't know, man. It's maybe a bit of a gamble pick. I reckon if he can keep bossing the show like we've seen from him towards the end of 22, then yeah, the guy could have a good year and potentially even be the second guy for Ireland. Remember, Johnny Sexton's minutes are always going to be kind of pretty carefully managed, so there is room for somebody else to get a go, and Ross Byrne potentially could be that guy. We'll see if he continues that kind of form that he's been in. For South Africa, this guy, another maybe a bit of a controversial one, Joseph Dweba. He was pretty much maligned for his line-out throwing. He just needs to get the line-out throwing right. I swear this guy, if you've seen him, he is a formidable human specimen. Like, he is not a guy you would want to tackle, and his ball carrying stats are phenomenal. Like, the guy is another one who kind of eats meters. For a front row, for a hooker, he's very able to get the ball over the line. Like, it seems like the South African hookers have all got one kind of skill in particular. Like, Bongi at maul time is one of the most phenomenal ball carrying hookers to just drive over, peel off, and score tries. Malcolm Marx is great at the breakdown. Just general round the park play, I think Dweba is right up there. But his line-up throwing struggles. So I do believe that is a kind of coachable, like goal kicking. It's kind of not quite a one-on-one because you've got to work with the rest of your team, but it's certainly a coachable skill. Get the ball in the right place at the right time. That's coachable. Malcolm Marx used to have a question mark about his line-out throwing as well, but that kind of came right over the years. So if Dweba can just get the line-out throwing right, he's hardly missed a tackle in 2022. So if this guy can just get that right, I reckon he could have a great year. But it's a big if. But like I said, it's coachable. I reckon he can get it done. Argentina, I've gone with a guy who for his club team has been playing phenomenally well. Mateo Carreras, the footwork on this guy, unbelievable. He's got wicked gas. He kind of reminds me of Dalghi a couple of years ago. I think, did Dalghi get injured? He's never quite looked quite the same as he did when he was playing for the Juarez. But Mateo Carreras kind of looks like that now. Not the biggest guy, but very agile, quick ball runner. Gets into space. Like for for Newcastle, he scored as I said here now, 7 tries in his last 7 games. Like, he is just on a stupidly high try scoring one. It's just bonkers how good he's been. To the point where he got called up by Michael Checkers for the autumn games. He got 2 tests against England and against Wales. Didn't quite get the same opportunities, but if they can kind of mesh in, if he can get on board with Checkers' game plan, if they can get this guy some ball, I do believe Boffelli's going to have a lock on one wing, on the left probably. Mateo could be that guy on the right. He's looked the business. He's still only a young man in his early 20s. So, I think look out for him to potentially be a guy going to the World Cup on that right wing for Argentina. A Welshman, and I've gone with Morgan Morris. This guy has got a phenomenal work rate. Like, if you just look at the guy's stats for the Ospreys, he is genuinely quite incredible. One of the top tacklers, one of the top turnover merchants. He scores tries. He gets cracking run meters. Like, if you saw him in the Champions Cup the other day against, was it Montpellier? The guy was just on like some kind of next level. He was absolutely tearing it up. The guy looks to have absolute bags of potential. He has to be on I was going to say Wayne Pivak, Warren Gatlin's radar. The only thing that maybe stands in his way is the fact that the Welsh back row is incredibly competitive. Like, even when Wales don't seem to have a great team, they seem to have a great back row. And, he's a bit smaller than the likes of a Faletau. Like, he's losing a few kind of centimetres and a few kilos on a potentially bigger unit. But this guy can play on the flank as well as number 8. He's got a really all-round skill set. He's not just a jackler. He's not just a tackler. He's not just a ball carrier kind of thing. He can legit do a bit of everything. And he seems to just have that absolute work rate, which not every player has. Just gets up off the ground lightning quick and gets back into the action. So I reckon he's going to push for a Welsh spot. As I said, competitive back row. May not get there, but I think he'll certainly be in the conversation, and if not now, it'll be at some point soon. And the last guy, I went for a Japanese guy. I went with Jiwon Gu. He used to be called Ku, but they've since been translating his name, is it transliterating it into GU rather than KO. He's the tight head prop from Japan. He's like 28 at the moment, so he's really, as we head into a World Cup year, coming into like this World Cup, or if he's still around next World Cup, for a prop, he's just starting to get into those kind of peak years, late 20s, early 30s. And the guy he only played, I think, 3 tests in 2022, but he's a real machine, like fitness freak. He just makes so many tackles for a prop. I think he had something like 19 against New Zealand and very similar numbers against France. Didn't quite have the same impact against England when he played, but the guy plays major minutes. He plays 70 plus minutes for Jamie Joseph. Good scrummager as well, which is obviously the main thing. Like if Japan is going to do well at a World Cup, you feel like the set piece is going to need to be solid. So that aspect of his game, him and Inagaki, I think, make a pretty useful propping duo, to be honest. I was always more of a fan of Inagaki, but I'm leaning more towards Gu at this point. And I reckon for his club, as long as the Japanese League One season goes good and he's getting some competitive scrummaging into his system, come World Cup time, he certainly could be a major part of that Japanese campaign if they are going to get out of the pool. So, there you go, guys. There's 7 guys who may be on for a great year in 2023. All guys who, like I said, have some kind of question mark about them. Didn't play many internationals. Still just a club player. Only played 3 tests. Kind of maligned for his line-out throwing. One of the secondary kind of option guys. Had limited game time, but looked devastating. And the guy coming back from injury. So they've all got these question marks about them. If they can clear them, any of these guys could well be going to a World Cup next year. But anyway, you guys let us know your thoughts. Check out the article for Planet Rugby, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.